How's everybody doing this morning? Fantastic, fantastic. We got a lot of new faces here this morning. Good to see everybody, good to see everybody. Did you enjoy the weather yesterday? I realized as I've gotten older, we talk about the weather a lot. I'm not sure why that is, but it's like, the weather's been great, hasn't it? Yes, it was fabulous yesterday. It was absolutely wonderful to have a little bit of fall coming on us. Well, welcome to the Center of Unity. We are excited that you are here this morning. We're going to go ahead and get started with some music. Jesus said, "You are the light on the hill." He said, "Be a light." That's what we're going to sing about this morning. Let's get started. Words are on the screen. In a time full of war, be peace. In a time full of doubt, just believe. Yeah, there ain't that much difference between you and me. In a time full of war, be peace. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. La 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 la. In a place that needs change, make a difference. In a time full of noise, just listen. 'Cause life is but a breeze, better live it. In a place that needs change, make a difference. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. In a race that you can't win, just slow it down. You only get one go round. 'Cause the finish line is 6 feet in the ground. In a race that you can't win, just slow it down. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Oh, don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. Yeah, it's hard to live in color when you just see black and white. In a world full of hate, be a light.
That's a way to start out this morning. Good morning, everyone. We're happy to see all of the faces that are here with us in person, and say a special good morning to those of you who are joining us online. Yes, I saw some new faces today, so we want to extend a special welcome to you and hope that what you experienced today resonates with you. I don't know, this mic isn't. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah, this is much better. And that you'll want to come and be an active part of us. We have many things that we offer beyond just Sunday morning services, and we are open and welcome to all those who can resonate with the message and the principles and the practices that we offer here. And we'd love to connect with you, so if you're here in person, there's a Connect card that's in front of you where you're seating. If you'd fill that out, and you can bring it up and drop it in the offering basket during that time of the service as your gift to us. We don't send a lot of emails out, but we will keep you apprised of the many opportunities where you can be involved in. And if you're watching online, you can go to our website, centerofunity.org, to the Connect page and fill it out there. We're just grateful that we continue to grow and evolve and discover more of who we have come here to be. And we've had a great weekend doing that this weekend. We've had the Dr. Reverends Gary and Jane Simmons with us these last couple of days as we've been discovering and they've been guiding us through who we are being called to be into the future and how we can move into that in a greater way, embody it in all that we do and in all that we offer. So we're grateful for the results. I'll share more of that later in the service. And I'm really blessed this morning because I get to receive a message today as Reverend Jane is also here to share the message, to introduce the book that she's written called You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening. And it's a very true statement. And so she's going to introduce that as part of our fall series. So we're going to be going into greater depth with this, studying it. Some of the spirit groups will be working with this material. So we hope that this inspires you to really want to do the practices that help you, that support you in staying awake as you continue to grow and evolve. And I'm really excited our teens are in here today, Jane. I didn't know if you saw that, but they are right now studying Eye of the Storm for teens. And when they heard you were going to be speaking today, they said yes, that they'd like to come in and hear that message. So we're very grateful that they're a part. This is 2 weeks in a row they've been in here with us. All of this work we're doing is really to support us, to encourage us, to inspire us to embody what we have embraced as our evolutionary purpose statement, our mission statement, whatever name you want to give to it, that we are here to provide the space, to provide the practices, to provide the tools in which we can wake up and grow up and clean up and show up. We've done a little bit of that over this weekend. And so I invite you once again this morning to join with me as we bring it deeper into our minds and into our hearts and into our intention of living it out in greater and greater ways. Let's speak it together. Transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. And we are grateful. All right, we're going to sing again.
So this next song, it talks about, it actually comes from a song, a story out of the New Testament, where the disciples are in a boat and they're out on the water, and it's really stormy out there, and all of a sudden they see something coming across the water there, and they're pretty shaken. They think it's a ghost walking across the water, and then they realize it's Jesus walking across the water. And the story goes is that they're in the boat, and Jesus calls out to Peter. He says, "Peter, come out to me." And Peter's afraid. He said, Lord, I will sink. I will sink in this water. And he says, "Peter, trust me. Step out onto the water." And that first step had got to been hard, right? I mean, that first step has got to be tough. And he did that. He climbed out of that boat and he stepped out onto the water. That's what this song is about. How Spirit calls us sometimes to step out onto the water. It's comfortable being inside the boat, right? That's where I like to be. I like to be inside the boat. But sometimes Spirit calls us out to walk in places we've never been. Let's do this song.
In oceans deep, my faith will stand, and I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours. You are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, you've never failed and you won't start now. I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours and you are mine. Oh, and you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of your Spirit. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of your Spirit. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. My faith will be made stronger in the presence of your Spirit. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine.
Wasn't that beautiful? It's just, just stirring. Maddie Lucito and myself, I'm Ganira Burgess, and we're here as members of the CARE team. And we just want you to know that we're available at any time that you would like to come and share. The prayer room is right on the left there, and everything is very, what you would say, just together with us, and goes no further unless you take it, okay? And so do remember also that you can get the free, tell me, what did you say? It was free, Maddie?
That's our daily word. Our daily word
It's free, okay. Now then, I am free through my awareness of God.
visualizing freedom. I may think of a bird soaring above the earth, a child running across a park, flying a kite, or a waterfall cascading into a river that will continue its journey as far as I can see. Beyond those exhilarating images, another, more personal example evokes a feeling of freedom. My connection with God. God is limitless and unbounded. When I align myself with the Spirit of God within me, I feel likewise limitless. This is where my freedom lies. No matter the state of my life or the conditions of the world, I remain free in God. I face each day with hope and positive expectation. Just as the bird that soars, the kite that glides, the waterfall that roars, I move freely through life because of my oneness with God.
and know that we're available again. I'll say that before service every Sunday and after service every Sunday. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. That's Corinthians. Excuse me, I must be in first grade it now. Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17.
As we have our healing prayer this morning, I would just invite you to take a moment and bring yourself to the center of your being, into your heart, into that place where we can be connected with Spirit and with that divine presence that connects us one to another. For it is in that energy that we hold all of the prayer requests in our ministry, that we surround and enfold them, envisioning that each person, each situation is infused with the divine love and wisdom and healing power of God. In a special way this morning, I just invite you to join with me as we send our prayers to those affected by the fires, including Gary and Jane's place where they live in Washington. The fires are somewhat near them, and as they rage across, we just envision that there is rain, whether it's from human hands or from the skies, that begin to allow all these fires to go back to the nothingness from which they came. For the safety of each and every person, and for the support and love that is extended in these communities as they face this challenge. For all this and for so much more, we rest in that place of gratitude. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. It's really wonderful to be with you all this morning. Gary and I have had we really enjoyed our time together with you this weekend, those of you who've been able to make it to the genogram activities. And I'm really delighted to be here right now. And I want to thank you for inviting us to be a part of the wonderful work that's being done at this center. And thank you for that beautiful music. It was just so perfect this morning, so uplifting. So let me begin by asking y'all, is everybody wide awake? Anybody sleeping out there? Because this morning we're going to explore what it means to be spiritually awake. And sad to say, the truth seems to be that you just can't sleep through this awakening. And yes, that is the name of my book. As the Armenian spiritual teacher Gurdjieff tells us, you can't unconsciously become conscious. So what do we need to become conscious of? Well, Julia Cameron, the author of The Artist's Way, among other books, tells us we are spiritual beings with spiritual business to transact on this physical plane. And I love that. That whole idea that we are spiritual beings and we've got spiritual business, we're here for that, on the physical plane. And when we forget that, when we fall asleep to who we really are, we end up sleepwalking through life. We miss it. It's like skimming the surface and never really plumbing the depths. But as the poet Diane Ackerman writes, a shallow life creates a world flat as a shadow. So spoiler alert, we're going to talk a little bit about the shadow today. So we're not here to sleep through it all by skimming. We're here to dive deep, to wake up, to be who we've come here to be, spiritual business, beings with spiritual business to transact. Do you know that about yourself? Yes, good. You know, in the Buddhist tradition, there's a story told that is comparable to Jesus' story of the prodigal son. And in this parable, the son is a prince who inadvertently strays outside of the palace walls as a very young child. And he gets lost, and he wanders, and he wanders, and he wanders, and years go by. He ends up living his life as a pauper on the street, eventually forgetting his earlier life as a prince. But one day, the king, who was always on the lookout for his beloved son, happens upon him and recognizes him. And the king joyfully rescues the prince, reveals his royal identity to him. However, the young man no longer has any memory of being a prince. He's asleep to his true self. He has trouble imagining that life, let alone living that life. And it takes him time to release all of the beliefs that he's acquired in his life of poverty and to grow into the belief that he really is of royal lineage and then to begin to live his life that way. It's a great story. And as we consider that story, can we see some parallels in our own spiritual journey? I mean, we learn that we are spirit expressing in a human body, right? What's Unity's second principle tell us? We're all unique expressions of the divine. But do we really actually live our lives as if that were true? Because that's what we're here to do, to express our divine nature in its fullness. New Thought author, teacher, founder Ernest Holmes tells us, we are ever expanding principle of conscious intelligence. Forever expanding, never ending, eternally increasing conscious intelligence. That's what we are. But when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, do you say, good morning, ever expanding conscious intelligence? Wouldn't that be a good way to start our day? In fact, I invite you to turn to the person next to you and say, good morning, ever expanding conscious intelligence. So we know that we are unique expressions of the divine. However, knowing spiritual principle, far cry from living spiritual principle. Would you agree with that? Yes. So we need to put principle into practice. That's what Unity's fifth principle tells us. We need to take action and live the truth that we know if we want to see transformation in our lives and in our world. But what's in the way? What stops us? Well, from the book Zen Judaism, it's a delightful mix of Zen and Jewish wisdom blended together. It says this: to study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to experience the complete dropping away of body and mind. Now that's the Zen part. The Jewish portion reads, the difficult part is keeping body and mind off after you've dropped them. Many people gain back body, mind, and an additional 15 pounds. Now that's written tongue-in-cheek, but really it points out to us this process is ongoing. It's a moment-by-moment experience of returning to the awareness of who we are and becoming conscious of the baggage, the extra 15 pounds that we may have taken on that is getting in the way of us really living our truth. So what keeps me dozing away? Well, to begin with, I'm not even aware that I'm sleeping. You see, I seem to be awake here. I'm conscious of my surroundings. I'm not comatose. And yet, what else is going on here right now, maybe, that I'm unaware of? Think of radio waves that may be traveling through our living space all the time. or ultraviolet rays that cannot be seen with the human eye. Dog whistles, where's Ziggy? Ziggy could hear it, but we couldn't. Oh, he's sleeping. All right. But the point is, there is much happening that is undetected by our human senses. In fact, research tells us, I often wonder how they do this kind of research, but this is what they say, that there are 400 billion bits of information available to us right now to be accessed. 400 billion bits. However, our brain can only process 2,000 bits in any given second. That's a whole lot of bits that we're not aware of. 400 billion, 2,000. But we're actually hardwired to be this way. Why? Because our brain is a sensory organ designed to interpret and classify our experience on the physical plane for us. I mean, if all 400 billion bits were suddenly available to us, what would that be like? To paraphrase Emily Dickinson, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every person could go blind. So we need some kind of governing dynamic to help us manage this experience of living in the physical realm. And that's all well and good, but the problem for us begins when we forget that we're just experiencing a slice of life solely through the sensory world, but we're thinking that's all there is. You see, our little slice of reality, we're forgetting that that's not total, capital R reality. So to see what this means, are you up for a little scientific experiment this morning? Okay, you don't have to put on a lab coat. You don't even have to leave your seat. To participate, I'll invite you to look down at your foot, and while you watch it, just lightly tap it on the floor. Just lightly tap it. Now, does the visual perception of your foot touching the floor match the sensation of your foot making contact with it? In other words, can you see and feel your foot hitting the floor at the same moment? Everybody? Anybody? Yes. Well, congratulations, you've just done the impossible. You can stop now if you haven't already. You've just done the impossible, and it's not even noon yet. Why? Here's why. Because the speed of light is massively faster than the synaptic conduction times needed to get that message from the foot to the brain. You should see it happen before you feel it happen, and the lag time should be noticeable. There's even an actual Google-worthy name for this phenomenon. It's called delay in antedating hypothesis paradox. And there are several thought-provoking theories about why this is so, but the explanation I find most intriguing and that makes the most sense to me from the little that I do know about brain research is this. Both events happen at different times, but are experienced together. In other words, the brain is editing our experience all the time. But here's the thing, it doesn't tell us that it's doing it. So, there's stuff happening we're unaware of. Our mind edits our experience for us in order to interpret and make sense of the world and neglects to tell us that it's doing so. And it has selective editing, you see. It focuses on what is ours to focus on rather than trying to make sense of all 400 billion bits. So here's the big question. How does it know which 2,000 bits to let in? Well, the editing that goes on depends on an internal filtering system through which I view my world. And these filters arise from, guess what? Beliefs. Limiting beliefs often that we've taken on at a young age, sometimes even pre-verbal. And these beliefs lie hidden away just below the surface of our awareness. So we want to become aware of what our filter is letting in. Now, for instance, if I have an unconscious belief that tells me that life is unsafe, that people can't be trusted, that everyone's out to get me, what will my experience be seen through that filter? I'm going to discover all the endless ways that life is indeed unsafe, that people can't be trusted, that people are out to get me. And in fact, I will gather evidence to support that belief, to confirm it for me. And I won't even be aware that I'm doing it or that I have a hidden filter. I'll just know that life's unsafe. People can't be trusted. They're all out to get me. What if I believe that there's something wrong with me, that I'm flawed in some way, that I'm inadequate, I don't measure up? What will I discover then? Will I find evidence that I am ever expanding conscious intelligence if I'm seeing life through the belief that there's something wrong with me or that I'm flawed in some way? And if I took on a mistaken belief that there's something wrong with me at a young age, I will repress that belief. I'm going to push it out of my awareness because it's too painful to look at directly. Instead, I might decide that it's really about someone else. They're the problem. Something wrong with that guy. I will project what is too painful for me to see within myself onto someone else. Now, do you know what I'm talking about here? Because we all do this. It's part of the human condition. It's a symptom of a newly discovered disease that I just made up called human sleeping disorder. Humanity sleeping disorder, sleep apnea of the soul, if you will. Now, to be clear, this is not about blaming others or beating ourselves up. Metaphysics does us no good if we use it to inflict guilt and shame upon others or wallow in self-judgment and self-condemnation. Do you agree? No, it's about having compassion. Compassion for all of us on the journey, for ourselves, for our family members, for those who disagree with us politically, for our teachers, our friends from childhood, the classroom bully, everyone who's been a part of our path, because we're all walking around with these unconscious patterns of behavior, forgetting the amazingness that we are. Do you see it? Suffering from humanity, sleeping disorder. And guess what? We are so courageous, all of us, to walk through our lives unaware of the magnificent beings that we are. That takes guts, really. So the bottom line is the world mirrors back to us what's really going on in our own psyche. And when we have these unconscious, disowned parts of ourselves that we don't think are acceptable, it's called our shadow. We repress these parts so they're not in our conscious awareness, and then we often project them onto the world, attributing that to be the problem. And with all this muck getting in the way of our awareness, we lose sight of the preciousness of the divine presence that we are. Now, is there hope for us? Yes, the correct response is yes. So let me give you the good news. You ready? Lean in. Our projections can help us to awaken. We might think of them as compassionate alarm clocks, as Byron Katie refers to them. Because when I make a judgment about someone else, or I have some triggering moment from someone else's words or behaviors, it's a pivotal wake-up moment for me, if I choose to use it as that. You know, we can pray, we can meditate, we can read spiritual books, we can go to workshops and retreats and classes to learn about spiritual principles. I love all that stuff. Where the rubber meets the road in our spiritual work, where we really roll up our sleeves and get down into the depths, is in the arena of human relationship. Especially a relationship with someone who can push your buttons. Do you know what I mean by this? Do you have someone who does that for you? Our button pushers are often quite conveniently close at hand. And they're so valuable for us because they clearly show us places in need of healing and integration. With great accuracy, they zero right in on it. It's like finding a sore spot. And why does it hurt to get our buttons pushed? It goes to one of those places we don't want to see, a belief we hide from ourselves and then project onto someone else. Now, hear me clearly, I am not suggesting anyone stay in any kind of an abusive relationship. If you are in an abusive situation, you need to get yourself safe. I hope we're all clear on that. And in addition, if you have any deep-seated, unresolved capital T trauma from your past, I recommend getting additional support and help through that, therapeutic support. What I'm talking about are the irritations in life, the annoyances, the socks on the floor, all that stuff, the paper-cut moments that can be surprisingly ripe with abundant opportunity for spiritual growth, for awakening to a deeper dimension within us, and yet this is the very time we would rather hit the snooze button and nap through it all than see the value of having our buttons pushed. But when we choose to use these events as awakening moments, now the work becomes dealing with the button itself, the inner button. You see the difference? This is where our power lies. This is where transformation can happen in a great way. Did you know that one of the ways that samurai warriors learned to do battle with each other was by hitting pressure points on the body, pushing each other's buttons in a big way? And there's a story told of a samurai who was soundly defeated using this method of combat. And so he left to spend time in the wilderness contemplating his life. For 20 years he was out there. 20 years later, he once again encountered his previous opponent who challenged him to another fight. Samurai agreed, and this time the other fighter was surprised to see, no matter how many times he hit those pressure points, no reaction. And the samurai explained that he had spent his time in contemplation working with the pressure points, changing the sore spots. They were no longer available to be triggered. Now, do you see? That's the work. That's the work, in a sense. Becoming aware of those sore spots, and as they get triggered, being curious about what that is. What's behind this? Discovering what the belief is, and then making the internal shift to integration through compassion. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for others. And what happens then? Those spots lose their ability to send us over the edge, and they actually become the pathway to our own awakening, because we start to really see, well, this is not who I am. Maybe I have a limiting belief that I'm inadequate, and this is pushing that button. It's not the truth of me. The truth is I'm a spiritual being here with spiritual business to transact on this physical plane. At the center of my being, I am ever expanding conscious intelligence. Now, we don't usually do this work too willingly. Nobody wants to look at their stuff, right? I mean, we can hear ourselves saying, this is negative energy. I don't want to mess with this. I didn't come to church today to hear about all this stuff. I'm all about being positive. Absolutely. Affirming the truth. Yes, we are, especially in unity. But while we're busy affirming, it can be very easy to ignore the denial part of the equation. We can affirm our good all we want, but if there's something that is sabotaging our success and we're unaware of it, transformation is not going to happen. I mean, here's the thing. We can pretend that the shadow doesn't exist and ignore it. Does it go away? No, it does not. And it's having an effect right now, whether we know it or not. And here's the thing. If I have a goal that I am affirming, I'm doing all the work to make this come forth. But at the same time, I have a belief that is conflicting. What's going to work out? The goal or the belief? The belief is going to win hands down every time. Some kind of sabotage, self-sabotage is going to come along, and we will not be manifesting what we want in our lives. And we will remain imprisoned in self-imposed limitation. However, here's the good news. Those unconscious self-limiting beliefs, they're actually much more impactful when we're unaware of them. They create much more havoc in our lives when they're simmering away under the surface than when they're brought into the light of day. This is the real beauty of the quantum living process, by the way. You've probably come to see that. Because here's the thing. Pain that is not transformed in some way is going to be transmitted. Pain not transformed is pain transmitted. This is a Carl Jung teaching, and also Father Richard Rohr really teaches this. If we have some kind of pain that's buried, we're going to transmit it. Either it'll be internally or externally. There's a Jungian, Freudian saying, pain doesn't decompose when you bury it, you see. Pain not transformed is pain transmitted, and it's often transmitted by slipping out of our mouths when we least expect it, at the most inopportune times. Have you noticed this? It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it pops up somewhere out of the blue. See, we are creative beings. It's part of who we are. We're always creating, but we're doing it either consciously or unconsciously. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, said, "To be ignorant of mind and its laws is to be a child playing with fire." So awakening means becoming aware of when these default patterns of behavior are creating our experience of life and being empowered to change that, to make a new choice, to create something new. This work is empowering, it's enlivening, it's freedom to be who we have come here to be, unencumbered by the thoughts, the beliefs, the attitudes, the filters that have accumulated over the years, becoming aware of when we are sabotaging our success and having the power in the moment to change that. Isn't that cool? Seriously. And we do this work through the power of the heart. The power of the heart. Because when we get to that deeper intelligence of the heart, the deeper dimension within us, the Christ dimension, it overcomes all the rest. That's where the work is. We are limitless, divine potential. We have access to a higher dimension of creativity, every single one of us. From the book of John, words attributed to Jesus, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods. Ye are gods. And I believe that we are at a juncture in our unfolding as a culture, and the world needs us to be who we've come here to be, fully, right now. And we can purposefully choose to evolve our hearts, our minds. We are so much more than we know. And we are not serving the world if we're playing small. So it's time for us to be truly free, to awaken to being who we've come here to be, to make a difference in our world. Do you know that about yourself? We're all here to do that. Not just to sleepwalk through it all, but to have the freedom, the power, the ability in the present moment to live a heart-centered, compassionate life as conscious, aware expressions of spirit. Let me leave you with words about really living life from one of my favorite poets, the late Mary Oliver, who wrote, "When it's over, I want to say all my life, I was a bride married to amazement. I was a bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited this world." So I invite you to remember, you are a spiritual being with spiritual business to transact on this physical plane, to dive deep into the present moment and let the wonder and the joy of discovery that comes from living an awakened life, to discover that as, say it with me, ever expanding conscious intelligence. Here's to the exploration. So let's take a moment right now as we move into a time of meditation and we sink into this awareness that we are spiritual beings with spiritual business to transact. Take that in. Let's take a nice deep breath. And so we open ourselves to this truth as we connect to the deeper dimension within us. And we begin to follow the breath in and out. Imagine breathing right into your heart space. And if you choose, you can put your hand on your heart. And now bring into your awareness someone or something that you feel deep gratitude for. Could be a beloved person in your life. Could be a cherished pet. Could be a warm memory. Whatever it is, or whoever, feel the feeling of gratitude. as it warms your heart. Bless you. And now let it expand beyond your heart as you begin to radiate this healing vibration of appreciation. And let it fill your body. Notice every cell being invigorated by this healing vibration. Alive. Now let it expand beyond the body. As we fill this sacred sanctuary with this healing presence. Feel your aliveness. This is the truth of who you are. The presence of gratitude, kindness, peace, compassion, however it shows up for you. Each one of us is here to be the presence in action, to bring peace to our world, to bring compassion to our world, to bring kindness to our world, to be who we have come here to be, unencumbered by unconscious default patterns. And as we liberate ourselves from these, from the past, we become the change that we seek in the world. Every one of us here to make a difference, here to be the one unto our life. Awake, alive, on fire with spirit. And so we send this healing vibration beyond the walls of this church, sending it forth to bless our world. And for the opportunity to be spirit in action on this day and every day. We are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
I am one, simple and plain. No superpowers, no famous name. But I stand tall, 'cause I believe something greater has come alive inside of me. I have felt the Spirit stirring in my soul, deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of It takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I am one, but I'm not alone. When I'm with you, I am whole. Side by side, we find the truth. When the spirit in me meets the same in you, I have felt this fire burning in my soul. Deep in my soul, I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, in a world where so many feel lost, in a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I know God.
Green. There we go. I keep switching mics on her. Woo. Well, thank you. And I just want to take a moment and allow you a moment to. I know it's kind of hard after the meditation to really get arousing, but after Noelle has just moved that energy of, thank you, Jane, for this message that you have shared. Well, it is the time in our service where we get to share of our financial good with this ministry. I hope you've got that inspirational feeling that's just going to want to allow that energy to flow through us. In just a moment, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row to be in that flow of giving and receiving, and you can place your gift in the large basket and then receive an affirmation to bless you this week. And even if it's not your day to share or you give electronically, which many people do now, come and be in that flow anyway. You can simply put your hand over the basket and add your energy to it, or there's little cards, if you prefer, that you can come and place in the basket to remind you that you are giving to this ministry, albeit through the ether waves now rather than through a physical cash or check. I also am excited today that Gary and Jane are offering a gift to you we have 10 copies of her book, You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening, that we will offer a free workbook. They have gifted a free workbook to go along with it. We have a few more copies beyond that, but only the first 10 get a free workbook today. Hopefully, you'll use that as part of your spirit group deeper exploration. We're going to also be exploring this for the next 6 weeks. Here on Sunday mornings, the Adult Sunday School will be studying it. So we encourage you to go ahead and take advantage. And Jane will sign books today while she's here. So we're very grateful for that. So let us take what we offer today into our hands, into our hearts, as we join together and bless it. Together, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God. Isn't our band amazing? We're so grateful for them. Well, we're going to take just a few moments as I share with you our center update. The first Sunday, I, as the minister, share with you. And so I just wanted to take a few moments to just acknowledge the weekend that we had together. First, I'm going to say, Gary, would you just stand up and wave? I know you love to do that. For facilitating this weekend for us. You can see some things up back there. So first, let me just say, I am so overflowing with gratitude and appreciation for the more than 40 people who came and participated in this weekend. And as Jane was speaking today, it has been about us collectively discovering who we have come here to be as a community, and then also taking a look at some things, some of those unaware and repressed energies in our community that might get in the way of us fully stepping into that. So we've got some of the results of that. I'm not going to go into any great depth of what happened, but if you were here this weekend, would you raise your hand for me? And if you weren't and you want to hear more about it, look around and ask one of those people about their experience. Oh, thank you, Jim. Because I'll tell you, we left this building yesterday with a lot of excitement and energy and people feeling. One person wrote that it felt like it was a group therapy session for all of us, but that resulted in this freedom and this newly generated hope that we can do great things together. Group awareness, Gary. Yes, it was group awareness. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm grateful for that they're here because I've been working with Gary and Jane for many, many years, and I have been over the last 5 years introducing you to little pieces of this. If you've been through the quantum living process, which Gary and Jane created along with Rima Marino, I said that right? Her last name? No? Huh? Benario, okay. Rima Benario, the three of them created the quantum living. I know I've got 14 going through the process right now. You probably heard a lot of familiar things. And if you haven't had the opportunity to do that, we'll certainly offer it in the future. But going through her book, You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening, will begin to prime the pump for how you can fully heal and get rid of those buttons. I have had some amazing experiences where with someone my whole life knew exactly where all my buttons were, and he no longer has the power to push them, and it's changed he hasn't changed much, but it's changed the dynamic of our relationship beyond a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, talk to somebody about this, and in a few weeks, Gary's going to be creating a short video for us and sharing the results of this and how we're going to work with this as we move forward to becoming a more integral ministry, that we can embody those practices and create and align ourselves with ways in which we organize and operate that really give us the greatest opportunity to continue to be a force for good, for light, and be a space where people who are searching for that healing and for that deeper connection to discover and to transform their lives. So I'm very grateful for it, and all right, I've got your mic. You want to come on? Oh, no, we're going to do announcements first. There we go.
Here's what's coming up at Center of Unity. Spirit groups give you an opportunity to connect with people in a deep, meaningful, and fulfilling way. There are 3 groups to choose from: You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening, A Healing Journey, How to Rebuild Your Life After Loss, or We Space Connections. They will meet online or in person for 7 weeks beginning the week of September 8th. Visit the Info Center or the COU website or app to sign up. Now more than ever, we are called to come together in service and support of one another. There are many ways you can help: assisting with office tasks, supporting Sunday services, or offering your time and presence in other areas. Visit the Info Center or sign up online for one of these needs. Come to Fellowship Hall after service on the first Sundays of each month for a love offering community lunch featuring different themes. Invite your friends for this time of fellowship and great food. Join Mark and Don Morris in the prayer room at 6 p.m. on the first Sundays of each month for centering prayer. This silent prayer is a type of Christian meditation where we will do 2 20-minute sits, then spend time in a meditative scripture reading. Visit contemplativeoutreach.org for more info. There are multiple ways you can make a donation to Center of Unity. You can drop your donation off at the church, mail it to our P.O. Box, visit our website, or use the COU or Venmo app. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. We would love to see you all back next week, and we are going to sing our kids in Bob. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine.
All right, good morning, everyone. Well, as you probably noticed, the older youth were here in the service so they could listen to the speakers because she's the author of the curriculum they started 3 weeks ago. And so that was really, they voted to do that, and so I'm really proud of them, and I hope they got a lot out of it. So now the grade school kids and the preschoolers all have been learning about diversity. Let's see what they have to say.
Today we played bingo with our similarities.
Today we made a collage about what all of us like. All of us are not different.
Okay. All right. And did you guys want to share about anything? Oh, you do?
So I'm pretty sure everybody here knows what we did today. I just want to thank her for speaking, and I really wanted to sit into this, and I was very interested, so thank you.
I listened to a really nice talk today that I almost had nothing to say about it. Get how I said almost? I learned that sleep is great. I mean, I don't want to be woken up on a morning before school on a Monday, but when we're asleep, we don't get to experience all the amazing things that happen around us in the real world, like realizing that we finally got a 100 on a test after getting a 25. So, if we're awake, we get to experience great things. Okay.
All right, why don't we all stand up together? Let's join hands across the aisle and do our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as a father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And as we go into this week, seeking to be fully awake to all of life, we go knowing our prayer for protection. We're going to do it as call and response. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.